All right, I'd like to call to order the Tuesday, June 24 City Council meeting. Time is now 7 o'clock p.m. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silent meditation. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of the Republic, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible. Okay, first item is roll call.
Mayor Scott Nickel.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Frank Gerton. Here. Councilmember Adam Dyer.
Here.
Councilmember Susan Romey. Councilmember David Nutt.
Here. Okay, next is excusal of council members. Entertain a motion.
Excuse Susan Romey, who's got some sickness in the family up in New York. Second.
Motion by Deputy Mayor Gerton, second by Councilmember Dyer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next is additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda, if any. Does anyone in council have anything they see that needs to be changed?
Mayor, I do have a question. I would like to propose tabling an agenda item. Should I bring it up now or once it comes up, potentially?
Once it comes up.
Sounds good. All right.
Okay, moving on to presentations, proclamations, and introductions. The first item is Aging Matters in Brevard Proclamation. And I have a proclamation that I will read. I believe we have a representative here from Aging Matters. Sir, if you'd like to come up, I don't know if you want to say a few words or if you just want me to go through the proclamation.
Mayor, if you wouldn't mind, would you read the proclamation first and then might I say something?
Of course.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, whereas Aging Matters in Brevard, originally known as the Community Service Council, was incorporated as a not-for-profit organization on June 7, 1965, and today promotes the independence, health, safety, and quality of life of seniors countywide. And whereas Aging Matters is now the leading agency providing direct services to seniors across Brevard County and is kicking off its 60th anniversary 2025 to 2085 Champions Initiative on July 1st. And whereas having grown alongside Brevard County, now employs more than 90 staff members and mobilizes more than 800 volunteers who drive more than 400,000 miles. And whereas together, staff and volunteers with support from a myriad of supporters provide life-changing services annually to hundreds of seniors countywide, including 79,000 hours of companionship, respite, socialization, safety and wellness checks, and light housekeeping in 2024. And whereas prepared more than 425,000 meals at its Brevard Community Kitchen and distributed them daily through its Meals on Wheels program, weekly at 13 seniors at lunch community dining centers, and monthly provided pet food to 160 clients through Pets on Wheels. And whereas installed 178 ramps and 2,100 grab bars, operated the Sunflower House, which provides critical caregiver support, recruited RSVP, Retired Senior Volunteer Program, volunteers for its own and many other organizations, and conducted bone builders classes for 370 seniors to prevent osteoporosis. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Indian Harbor Beach, Brevard County, Florida, do hereby recognize and commend Aging Matters in Brevard for 60 years of distinguished service to the citizens, and particularly the senior citizens of Brevard County, and congratulates the Board of Directors leadership team for a job well done.
Thank you, Mayor. Officer Tim, correct? I know you're the show tonight, so I'm going to make it quick. My name's Ken Parks. I'm the Development Director at Aging Matters in Brevard. I'm here for Tom Kammerdenner, who is our CEO and President, and he says hello. He's at a different event with Rotary right now. It's an honor to be before you and any leaders within our organization. We know how important you are. In 1965, local leaders just like you established the Community Services Council, which the mayor just referenced, and that became us. So it was people like you that made that happen, so thank you. That original council included about 50 organizations, and that was a time of great change, 65, in our nation. And the Space Coast had recently been born, and some of us remember that. I remember it, and even younger people like Frank remember it too. But local leaders such as you established that Community Services Council, and we thank the leaders of the past for that. This year, we're going to come back to you. So we're looking back right now, and we're collecting proclamations, and we've got many, and it's so nice to have those. Thank you. But we're going to come back, and we're going to talk to you very soon about the next 60 years. So we're kicking off an initiative called the Champions Initiative. And we're going to ask you, who are the champions of today who will make sure that the seniors 60 years from now are cared for as well as they are today? We've done a lot. You read that, Mayor. Right now, I want you to know, and it's going to break your heart a little bit, there's 400 seniors on a waiting list for food. Think about that, 400. Some of them in critical need. And we need your support. We're going to come back to you and talk about that. And just like always, you're going to come through. So the Older Americans Act is up before the Congress of the United States right now. Anything you can do to make sure that that passes, because the list will grow if it doesn't. And we must eliminate that list. And we're getting great support to do that. But 70 of those people need food today. So please know that. But, 425,000 meals went out the door, as you said. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I brought my paparazzi photograph.
Okay, item number 2 is Police Department Sergeant Promotion. Chief Butler.
Thank you, Council, for giving us a few minutes and sharing with us a career milestone in one of our officers today. So I'm pleased to announce the promotion of Tim Gannon to the rank of Sergeant. Tim, come on up. All right, a little bit about Tim. Tim began his law enforcement career in March of 2014 when he became a police officer in Illinois. And yes, he is a Bears fan. Unfortunately. In 2021, he and his family moved to Florida, where he worked as a U.S. Postal Service as a mail carrier here in Satellite Beach and Indian Harbor Beach. That gave him a great leg up on knowing the area, knowing all the streets. That really made that deal a lot easier for him. One day he was taking a break at 7-Eleven, and Corporal Oakes, Kevin Oakes, met him there and found out he used to be a police officer and started recruiting him. 2 months later, he was working for us. So it actually worked out. Our best recruiters are always our own employees. He started with us in January of 22 and quickly became a valuable member of the department. In the 3.5 years he's been with us, he's worked in the patrol section as a patrolman and a corporal, the criminal investigation section, and he's also an FTO, a field training officer. Tim has received 3 life-saving awards, 2 unit citations, Officer of the Quarter. He was the Indian Harbor Beach Police Officer of the Year. And if you guys recall, he was the Brevard County Police Officer of the Year for the entire county. He scored #1 on a very challenging sergeant's exam. The process, our tests are not easy. And he will continue his formal education next year, right? Yes, sir. Right? Yep. Tim is married and has 2 children. His oldest begins college in the fall. We have the utmost confidence in Tim, and he'll do an outstanding job and will continue to excel. His future in Indian Harbor Beach is bright. Congratulations. I'll let you introduce your family and who's going to pin your badge.
Make it a family affair. All three of you go pin them. They got to be nice to you now.
This is a good time.
You might need some help. That brother there. Getting serious. Okay. Back up.
Thank you very much. He's not Chad.
He's not a talker, huh?
No.
Not a talker. What?
The exit.
Yes, that's good. You know, Mayor, I had the opportunity to, for a couple of years, 2 years, to go ahead and Meals on Wheels. So did that. That really opened my eyes up to the county and what's happening in this county. Move over to prime seats. Nobody wants it.
Okay, next item, item number 3 is approval of the regular council meeting minutes from May 27th, 2025.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the regular city council minutes from May 27th.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Nutt, second by Deputy Mayor Gerton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Item number 4 is city manager's report. City Manager Coffey.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, city council members, residents gathered here and watching from home. A few action items tonight. The first is the annual letter requesting support for the continued justice assistance grant receipts being used by Brevard County Sheriff's Office for prisoner transport. This is in keeping with past practices. Staff recommends the council consensus or motion to let the mayor execute the letter.
Is there consensus? You all agree with that?
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Next item is Florida League of Cities Annual Conference is coming up in August. As each year, they ask that each municipality designate a voting delegate for their business meeting. They're requesting that, I believe, by the end of next month. But I don't believe at this point Ms. Romey is planning on attending. She may change her mind, but she's not registered yet. So staff would request council select a member so the mayor can sign the document of who's going to be the voting member.
Like mayor.
I'm certainly willing to do that.
Are you going to be there?
Yeah,
Sure,
I'll
attending?
definitely be there.
Yeah, I second that for the
Yeah, I
mayor.
was just say, I'll be willing to do it, but I'll defer to you if you want. It's all yours, sir.
Consensus item also?
Consensus.
Okay.
And last item, unfortunately, the July 16th low-speed vehicle workshop was scheduled on a date and time that City Attorney Bone cannot attend. I request your direction if we keep that workshop as scheduled without Mr. Bone's participation, or we look to reschedule it in the future to when he can attend.
So, just give my thoughts on it to start with. I know we've gone over this issue before and considered this several times before, I think, actually. And the one of the major hangups was the legality of getting something drafted in ordinance form that didn't violate state statute. And given that, I mean, I'm all for doing a workshop and talking about it again to see if there's an avenue in which we can get there with it. But given that I think a lot of this rides on legal interpretation, I think we need to wait until Carl can be present at the meeting.
Agreed.
We will reschedule it. Information items, the estimated fiscal year 26 taxable property valuation information was received early this month. I previously had provided that information via email to the city council members. The preliminary numbers indicate approximately 4% growth in property valuations as compared to staff's estimated 7% increase. The July 1st numbers, that says June 1st, typo there, typically slightly larger, and I will update you when that is received next week. Algonquin Sports Complex, proposed pedestrian bicyclist access points. Previously discussed, there's been a northeast access point that the city council endorsed, and staff at the April 22nd 5-year workshop proposed one for the northwest corner. We had a member of a design team come out and look at the two areas to give us potential design proposals. I signed the one for the northeast corner, the cost of $8,900, and to be funded out of the transfer city manager's contingency. I currently declined the proposal for the northwest corner as there's not a survey of the city of Satellite Beach property, which added more cost to it. And with the uncertainty with our budget preparations, I felt it was prudent to pause that. And I will bring that back for your attention at a later point. Comprehensive plan update services. Staff held a kickoff meeting with the vendor and the city's planning consultant earlier this month. The vendor is scheduled to make a presentation to the Planning and Zoning Board next Wednesday and is scheduled for this city council's agenda for July 8th. The Ronnie Drive Stormwater Project was substantially completed yesterday. The Atlantic Boulevard Stormwater Project, City of Melbourne completed their deconfliction work, and the contractor is resuming that work. Assistant to the city manager Covert almost fell out of his chair yesterday when he received the good news that FP&L finally hooked up power to our new restroom building in Gleason Park. Remaining tasks are testing and close out of the permits. Security camera project update. I previously reported that one of the cameras for Gleason Park was on back order. The vendor graciously is loaning us a camera that has been installed until the back ordered one arrives. Low speed vehicle parking and recycling dumpster concrete work update. The vendor scheduled to pour these pads within the next couple of weeks. Gleason Park gazebo replacement project started last week. This is, as those who read the 5-year plan may remember, this is a multi-year project to replace aging structures with more sustainable materials. And once that gazebo is completed, the contractor will move on to replace one of the small pavilions at Millennium Beach Park. A good news story out of Gleason Park of last year, we started a 3-year phased exotic removal project that had a little controversy at the time. In that part of phase 1, Public Works Director Scaldo noticed 7 new gopher tortoise burrows in the area that had been cleared, all the roots taken out and stuff. So we went through a little pain of the clearing, but we have created better habitat for our gopher tortoise friends. Per the charter requirement, the May revenue and expenditure reports are attached. General fund receipts of slightly over $10 million, or 63% of the budget. Expenditures of $7 million, or 44%. I will remind the council and residents that these numbers are skewed because of sizable one-time grant funding projects that the expenditures are occurring now, and we will get the reimbursement afterwards. Stormwater receipts are largely in, and expenditures are approximately 50%. Legislative session finally ended last Monday. Traditional tracker is attached and will be updated through the governor's signing decisions. The next council meeting, we have, as I mentioned, the comprehensive plan update presentation, planned public hearing, second reading on low-speed vehicle, parking ordinance, and awarded contract for the City Hall baffle box project. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next is City Attorney's report. Carl, do you have anything?
Informational stuff. I've noticed a trend that municipalities are adopting ordinances and or policies regarding Senate Bill 102, the Live Local Act. So I think John and I will start a discussion on implementing, whether it's policies, procedures, or an ordinance that basically outlines the parameters in the state statute regarding Live Local. If you recall, Live Local basically allows certain types of mixed-use developments and whatnot in areas that normally wouldn't have allowed residential. We do have a mixed-use ordinance, and it may very well be that we need to just take a look at that to make sure that we're in compliance with state law. Secondly, if at all possible, with regard to the workshop, would the council be adverse to starting that as early as possible? On any particular day? Are we constrained to the 6:30, 7 o'clock time frame?
Yeah, I mean, I could do it early
Great state, if we move it up, would you be willing to attend the previous date?
Sorry?
If we move the time up, would you be able to show up to the previous scheduled date, July 16th?
Check on real quick, just a second here. 16th of July. If it were, I don't know, I could do 3 o'clock on July 16th. The problem is, and later than that is conflict with other meetings.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But he's not here, so she'll be able to give any input, obviously.
Yeah, I don't feel like that. To work and show up, but I mean, I'd be willing to move it up a little bit on another day. But
I can go. I could go as early as 5, if needed.
If you can go at 5, I can also.
Okay. So I could do a 5 o'clock if that helps you, Carl. we could.
I'm 16th, I can't do 5 o'clock.
No, I understand. I'm talking about, I thought you were talking about another date. If you,
Sure, that would work.
all right, David, you,
I'm fine with 5 o'clock. I just want to make sure we have his undivided attention because of his schedule. I just want to make sure we
Right,
have a lot enough
right.
time.
yeah, because I think the workshop's going to take a while to get through. So, okay, so,
Yes, sir.
yep, I agree. All right, so I guess, John, the date?
If 5 o'clock's okay.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. All right, next is council comments. Anyone in council have any comments they wish to make? Starting with Frank.
Since we're in workshops, I had an opportunity to go over the repaving on 513 South Patrick Drive to the Pineda. And over the course of years, we've had people in here for various reasons, driving reasons, that type of thing. We seem to get a lot of things done on a workshop. And what I'm looking forward to as a council to go ahead and meet and come up with what we think are things that can be put in place on the highway besides 35 miles an hour, okay? As far as lights, turn lanes, making a U-turn. And I don't want to belabor people, but, I've had 2 people do a U-turn in my front yard. Hello? And across the street from me, I've had also a person do a U-turn in their yard. They have a driveway. They did a U-turn. Now, things happen out there most people are not aware about. The people don't know what to do. There's no U-turn time. The one woman was probably, I'm saying maybe 60, 65, and so I'm talking about where we get done with our recommendation, we get a letter up, we send it up there to the land, we're all together on it, what we agree on, plus the police, what they think also is going to go ahead and improve our traffic on South Patrick Drive from O'Galley Causeway to the end of our line there in Indian Harbor Beach, just South Patrick Drive.
Okay, so you would like to see a workshop for that?
Yeah, because I think that we need to be together. Police department, council, because they know all the infractions. I only get a semblance of them,
Okay. Favor of doing such a thing, David?
I am. Yeah, Frank has a good point on some of these issues.
Okay. All right. Maybe we can work on a schedule for that as well. Just not back to back.
Not right.
Yes.
Please.
No, we have, they got to do the paving first, but we want to get in there and get on their desk, know what we'd like to have.
Okay. David, you have any comments?
Yeah, I attended the grand opening of our recycling that we had on the beach in Bicentennial with the cleanup, and I think it was a great success. It looks great and put to good use. Also, the last meeting that the Tree Preservation Board had, we had Quincy, who's our supervisor of grounds, show up and gave us some really good insight, and we're going to make a note of the fact that we did see, 6 or 8 new gopher tortoise holes that were there. But the totality of there is close to 16 or 18 tortoises that have been revealed there, so it's coming back. So in that meeting that we noticed, the larger green area that's to the north of that area that was cleaned out is on a 3-year death cycle right now. According to Quincy, basically there's only a handful, less than 5 trees that are sustainable, that are still there, that are native. The rest of it is all pepper trees. Mm-hmm. So talked to John about it, but it is going to be a bit of an extensive thing that needs to be done. We need to clear that entirety of the pepper trees out of there completely, out of the Gleason Park, and it's going to revitalize our gopher tortoises,
I agree.
our habitat. So I want to make sure that we work on something moving forward to make sure that that gets done as soon as possible. I mean, and what Quincy said, he says right now it's taking over, but in 3 years' time it'll be too late.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm all for that too.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm in favor. I didn't know if you were talking about Algonquin or Gleason, but I'm glad you clarified. So
Gleason.
we're ready. We just yes.
Oh, and by the way, I'm sorry, that was me doing the U-turn. I thought you were home.
You know, if it was you, you'd have 4 flat tires.
Nothing to comment.
Okay. Okay, moving along. Public comments on agenda items only. If there's anybody from the public that wishes to speak on an agenda item that is not a public hearing, please come up and state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes. Seeing none, we'll move on. We don't have any unfinished business. Move on to new business. Item number 5. This is a public hearing, second reading of ordinance number 2025-03. This is for waste management.
Mayor, so I would like to, for the waste management agreement extension, I'd like to make a motion to table this item and make this a future agenda item. I feel with the number of complaints from the city in my inbox and the calls that the city's receiving, and after looking at the current contract, I think we should at least open it up to residents coming and speaking about their concerns and issues and things that we could potentially bring to waste management that we could clean up
So we had a meeting.
before we move forward. I feel right now with the current state of the service and extending another 5 years, I personally don't feel comfortable with that. So I would propose a motion to table this item and make it an agenda item on the next meeting.
What do we do in the meantime between now and then?
Well, we currently have a contract, so what we're voting on is extending the contract for the next 5 years, so they're still going to provide service.
I'm talking about us as a council. What do we, as far as doing another workshop on this?
Just making it a,
So it's not a public hearing tonight.
Right,
yes.
right.
So,
I feel like if we table, make it an agenda item, we can actually openly discuss the issues and concerns, and after the citizens bring their concerns and not just concerns, ideas on what we can, then after that, we could discuss and then work with waste management moving forward to try to clean up some of these issues. And also, after looking at the franchise agreement, I feel like we can readdress some issues and make a better service.
In my thinking, Adam, we already had a presentation one time and people had a chance to speak. And we're on the agenda for today. So I would think that anybody that has some concerns, that they would go ahead and be here to go ahead and state their concerns.
As you recall, the last meeting, there was people speaking, and also
Well, they should go tonight.
my inbox is getting full,
So,
also
let me-
the city.
let me also ask you. So, right, is that,
And
Second.
just tabling doesn't mean canceling it, just delaying it, talking about it, and then seeing if we want to move forward with the current agreement. That's what I'm proposing, to table it.
so that's your motion?
Yes.
Okay. So we have a motion. So we have a second.
On behalf of the citizens, I'll second that.
Okay. So we have a motion by Councilmember Dyer, a second by Councilmember Nutt. Any further discussion?
We move forward with advertising this on social media to make sure that we get as many residents here as possible for this, for the next.
So Carl, in the agreement, obviously there's language in there regarding termination situations. for both sides, I presume. So if this is,
is a suspension, process, notification right before stuff. Idle time.
okay.
So why it's or those typical situations that I would jump from 3 days notice, and it's probably some logical for both sides, because if you're in a place and terminate, what do you do?
Agreed, but why wouldn't we have a termination policy like we do with other contractors or vendors of that nature? Is it because of the fact that we wouldn't, if we do terminate it, then what? Is that correct?
So I feel like
I guess my question is that the reason why the termination terminology in this franchise agreement is different from our normal termination policies that we would put in a contract? Is that correct? Because of the fact that if we do cancel it, then what?
That's pause and putting this in the pickle.
Correct.
So that's and notification time. The contract does require to the franchise. That allows us to do is we can suspend exercise gaps while we decide what we're going to do. I don't know if section 1 is on file. They can't see, but it's part of the franchise agreement.
We will find out tomorrow.
and I just want to clarify, I'm not proposing canceling. I'm just saying we need to at least do our due diligence to the residents, let them talk about it, figure out if we can come and clarify some of the language and continue to work with Waste Management moving forward. That's
Adam, I agree with you. I know, but I also agree with Frank when it comes to the fact that they had the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we didn't publicize it enough for them to be here, show up, to actually voice their opinions on it. So if your inbox is showing that, then
Mm-hmm.
obviously I can't negate that. So we need to address it with them and make sure that they're aware of it, and ask that Waste Management be here to address any issues that they have, like they did the last time that we had a meeting about it, which that one resident did have her concerns basically taken care of when she was here.
Yes.
and they have continued to be here on every meeting, so I will applaud them for that. So
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. I don't have any further comment on this. I'm a bit torn because I do feel like we've already had the one meeting. We have a public meeting right now. And maybe we do publish the agendas. I know we have it on our city website, publish it on Facebook. So the question becomes, what other means and mechanisms to contact people that's going to generate more interest or participation by the public?
Without expenditure, without.
Right. I'm talking about, realistically, this is how we normally go about our business, advertising, if you will, for
Right.
city council meetings.
agreed, and all I'm proposing is tabling it for one meeting, and then we can discuss it and then continue the process.
Anything that's been on the agenda, I'm just going to make a couple comments. Anything that's been on the agenda seemed like people turned out when it was real concern. And when there's no real concern, at least in my past 10, 12 years on the council, when there's really no concern, people are not really here. Now, you might be getting them, but I didn't get a one. I don't know if Scott did.
I got one. I mean,
You got one?
It's been a
Okay.
while since
I received 3.
Okay.
And honestly, I haven't looked at my email.
And so the only thing I say there is that, I just don't personally think there's that much interest out there in waste management. That's all. Because, I'd want our people to go ahead and, be a part of everything, sure. But I just don't see this going on and canceling because
And once
we
again,
have 3 or
I'm
4
not proposing
people
we
here.
cancel, but we've made a motion and we're going to table.
he's-
I believe it's been tabled, so we're going to
Councilman
move
Dyer
forward.
is not suggesting cancellation. It's more about public engagement, and we've done an adequate job of making that available to the public.
This is allotting more time for the public
So,
to go for the next reading.
So we have representatives of Waste Management here tonight. If we were to table this meeting, would you all be able to show up for the next council meeting? Okay. To answer questions? Okay. Okay. All right. In that case, I'm ready to vote. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0 to table the meeting. Okay, item number 6, first reading of ordinance number 2025-04, low-speed vehicle parking at beach parks. This is to consider approving on first reading ordinance number 2025-04, establishing designated parking spots for low-speed vehicles at Bicentennial and Millennium Beach Parks. I'll read the ordinance into the record. Ordinance number 2025-04, an ordinance of the City of Indian Harbor Beach, Brevard County, Florida, relating to the parking of low-speed vehicles at designated beach parks as defined by state law or as may be defined by the City Code of Ordinances, providing severability, repeal, codification, and an effective date. City Manager Coffey.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. On April 8th, the City Council authorized staff to proceed with construction of designated parking spots for low-speed vehicles at the 2 beach parks. To ensure other types of road-legal vehicles do not use these spots, staff developed the attached ordinance adding low-speed vehicles to Section 1919 of Chapter 12. I will flip to that section. It's a very brief addition. It basically refers to Florida statutes as a definition of a low-speed vehicle, is authorized to park. Non-compliance goes back to the existing language for parking, which is a citation process. Chief Butler has reviewed this. Mr. Bone has reviewed this. Staff recommends approval on first reading.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone in council have any questions or comments?
No.
Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve first reading of ordinance number 2025-04, low-speed vehicle parking at beach parks.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Dyer, second by Deputy Mayor Gerton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. All right, item number 7, Recreation Center Bathhouse Award of Contract. This is to consider awarding a contract not to exceed $150,000 to Brevard Construction Company for renovations to the bathhouse and instructing staff to transfer $69,196 from the city manager's contingency account to cover the overage. City Manager Coffey.
The fiscal year 24 budget contained $80,000 for the bathhouse renovations project. This money was rolled into current budget year via a budget amendment in November of last year. This project initially was advertised twice in Florida Day in accordance with the city charter requirements, only one bid was received at the time. Due to the price of the bid being significantly higher than the budget and only receiving one bid, staff re-advertised the project in April 18th, trying to generate additional bids. No additional bids were received. The bid that was received is approximately $149,000, which would result in an overage of $69,000 and change. There is sufficient funding available in contingency to cover this budgetary overage. I will make a comment about the bid as attached. Highly irregular format is the nicest thing I can say in a public meeting. We tried repeatedly to work with the vendor to get it in a more orthodox manner, to no success. Ethically, I don't believe that I should be writing proposals for vendors. It's not a good paper trail look. There is a representative of the Recreation Department here who knows the bid inside and out. Although the bid is in irregular format, if City Council awards contract for this project, Mr. Bone and I will develop a comprehensive contract which will govern the project versus just signing off on this irregularly formatted bid. Hence, I recommend the council award contract not to exceed $150,000 to Brevard Construction Company for renovations of the bathhouse and instruct staff to transfer $69,196 from city manager's contingency account to cover the overage.
Okay. Yeah, I was concerned about the formatting of this. It's very confusing the way it was set forth. But I think I've eventually clicked in my head exactly what they were trying to accomplish. It looks to me like the column on the right, which is the highlighted blue cost numbers, that's the total cost, labor and materials, assuming that the allowance numbers that are shown in the column to the left of that are not exceeded. Okay. Yeah, it would be nice if that right-hand column would say cost, labor and materials or something below it. Something to clarify it a bit, because it was very confusing to me. I have not seen a formatting like this before. And I think if it were cleaned up just a tad, it would add a lot of clarity to this. But I trust you and Carl to be able to come up with an agreement that works and potentially helps to clarify some of these things.
And that is part of the reason it's taken so long to get to the city council, because Ms. Cusimano and I have gone back and forth with the vendor trying to get something that was easier for the residents to understand, to no avail.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments? There are none. I would entertain a motion.
I'm sorry. Who were the other? I mean, this was it, basically, as far as contractors that bid on.
Yes, Kristen, called people. There were a couple of vendors come out and looked at the project and declined to bid.
As long as we're protected.
Mayor, what's your thoughts? I'm sorry, I like to have.
I mean, as long as we're protected as a city. My concern with a contract like this is the potential for interpretation.
Yeah, I agree.
Different interpretations, scope creep, all kinds of stuff. It's not very tightly written the way it is presented, and it does seem to leave it a bit wide open for the potential for changes.
So as you said, you would like to see them tighten this up and basically make it more.
I think that can be done through the agreement that John's talking about. There's going to be this agreement that this would get attached to. But it would be attached as an exhibit to the city's agreement with the contractor. And that agreement would in essence, help clarify and tighten up the language that's presented in there.
Yeah, so I guess,
The other option is to turn it around and say, go back to the drawing board again, but we start getting into risking, okay, so what if they decide had enough and done? And now we're back to square one, we don't have any bidders, we have a project again. So, I mean, I would like to, personally, I'd like to see the project get going and move forward, and I think it can be done through that methodology of a city agreement with the contract.
do you see any problems with them actually providing an addendum to this as an exhibit to meet what we're asking for?
We have tried to get them to provide clarity. The way the contract will wrote, basically when we do a written contract for a project of any size, there can be no authorized expenditures outside the scope of the contract without a pre-approved change order. The council in prior years gave me authority of 10% of contract or $40,000, whichever is the smaller amount. That is what protects us from mission creep of allowances and stuff. I've spoken, Kristen has been very clear that he has quoted the fixtures and the items that she wants. And her way of describing this individual is she may change her mind and want something cheaper. Kristen is firm in what she wants. She's not going to change her mind, something cheaper. The contractor understands this will be a guaranteed maximum price contract, that if he wants to charge us for something above the $149,000, it has to be submitted in writing through a change order, and the change order has to be approved before he can proceed. That is our standard way of working contracts. And I believe that'll serve us well. With Kristen and her staff there on site, I think you all know I do daily site inspections, all projects, stormwater projects. Mr. Scaldo's out there repeatedly. This is a project where our staff is going to be there almost on a per minute basis because it's right in the back of their shop. So if there's anything squirrely proposed, it'll be reinforced. You have to submit that through a change order. It has to be pre-approved. You cannot exceed the contract price.
I'm comfortable with it, if, you know, under those conditions.
Understood. I'd like to make a motion to award the contract not to, I'm sorry, let me make sure I get this right. I'd like to make a motion, the award of contract renovations to the Recreation Center Bathhouse, the award of the contract not to exceed $150,000 to the Brevard Construction Company for renovations to the Recreation Center Bathhouse, and instruct staff to transfer $69,196 from the city manager's contingency account to cover the overage.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Nutt, second by Deputy Mayor Gerton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. All right, item number 8, replacement of playground equipment, award of contract. This is to consider awarding a contract not to exceed $54,000 to Advanced Recreational Concepts, LLC, via a piggyback contract from Clay County for the replacement of a playground unit at Oars and Paddles Park, and authorize staff to use the city manager's contingency for the overage in the procurement of the installation services and mulch. City Manager Coffey.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The FY25 budget contains $60,000 for replacement of playground unit. City code permits us to piggyback contracts from other public sector agencies that have competitively sourced similar items. Staff located a contract through Clay County for playground equipment with Advanced Recreation Concepts, LLC. The bid for the equipment came in just under $54,000. That is what we are asking you tonight to award contract for, with the understanding that I will administratively approve a separate proposal for $14,511 for installation and the safety mulch. The total project does exceed the budget by approximately $8,000. Sufficient budget is available in the city manager's contingency account to cover this overage. We have used this firm with a high level of satisfaction and success in the past. Therefore, staff recommends council award the not to exceed contract of $54,000 via a piggyback contract to Advanced Recreation Concepts, and authorize the use of contingency for the procurement of the installation and mulch.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from council? Entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion replacement playground equipment award of contract not to exceed $54,000 to Advanced Recreational Concepts via piggyback contract from Clay County.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Dyer, second by Deputy Mayor Gerton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Item number 9, authorization to fill part-time maintenance specialist 2 positions in the fire department for the balance of fiscal year 25. This is to consider authorizing staff to transfer $20,669 from the city manager's contingency fund to fund 0.46 full-time equivalent part-time maintenance specialist 2 positions in the fire department through the remainder of fiscal year 25. City Manager Coffey.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. On May 13th workshop, Fire Chief Lewis, who is present if you have specific questions, gave a presentation based on staffing and equipment analysis and needs going forward to City Council in the workshop. Chief Lewis requested 4.20 full-time equivalent part-time positions in the FY26 budget to augment gaps in volunteer staffing hours. At that workshop, council had a consensus for staff to proceed developing the proposed budget with this additional request. Chief Lewis is famous for encouraging folks to, with his crawl, walk, run approach of you don't have to implement everything instantly. This proposal would allow us to start hiring some part-time people now with sufficient contingency funding it. You will be getting the proposed budget at the end of next month that will have an expansion of this going into FY26. Chief Lewis can answer any specific questions you have. I recommend council authorize the transfer of $20,669 from contingency to fund the part-time positions through the balance of this year.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone on council have questions for either City Manager Coffey or Chief Lewis?
Chief, do we already have anybody on the hook to take up these 2 positions or these positions? Are they pre-filled is what I guess I'm getting at.
We requested amongst the qualified volunteers who would be interested in fulfilling these positions, and I've had quite a few interested parties. That said, this is going to be shared amongst that pool, and it'll be filled as they have availability.
Yeah, I think the workshop, you explained yourself very well, and I think this is great, so I appreciate it, yeah. So I just want to make sure we're getting a good jump start, so get them going as soon as possible.
Doing the best we can with the few that we have.
I understand. You got a good few, though.
Absolutely. Very, very happy.
Anybody else have questions?
I'm covered.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to authorize to fill the part-time maintenance specialist 2 positions in the fire department for the balance of FY '25. Authorize the staff to transfer $20,669 from the city manager's contingency to fund the .46 FTE part-time maintenance specialist 2 positions in the fire department through the remainder of FY '25.
Second.
Close one.
Give it to Adam.
I have a motion by Councilmember Nutt, second by Councilmember Dyer. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, council.
You're welcome. Next is public forum. Anyone in the audience wish to come up and speak, please come up, state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Mayor Gerton, second by Councilmember Nutt. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0, and we are adjourned.
Mayor, good job.